Trying to make here. This is a discussion among us trying to conduct business. What is happening out there, this is not how we conduct business, Mr. Washington. Okay?
Mr. Chairman, the way we have conducted business for 35 years is not the way we're supposed to conduct business. Yeah, I just gave one motion related to the county administrator. I'd like to see some numbers. No, what the request was, if you were gonna grant it, then I didn't need to put it in a motion. If you're not gonna grant it, then I will put it in a motion. Okay, the motion is to request the county administrator to come back to us with a plan, including numbers, to begin addressing this public health and public safety situation.
I'll second that motion. We got a motion and a second.
I got further discussion. When you say numbers, what are you talking about?
Costs.
Costs?
Yeah.
And miles, roads? I mean, that's where I get
Well,
confused on
okay, let me help you out.
accepting the road.
So all of the dirt roads we have are not in horrible condition, but there are a number of them that are. So what I want to know, how many roads are there, what it would take to address it, and how much it's gonna cost. And then if you wanna know how to pay for it, I got a variety of ways to pay for it. Y'all probably won't like some of them.
No, I'm quite sure.
I'm happy to share them if you wanna hear them. I don't think the administrator wants me to talk about it, so that's why I'm asking the administrator to put his cards on the table. Let him bring us back a plan.
Are you talking about millage increase?
I'm not talking about a tax increase. So let me put that out there.
So you're not gonna ask the voter for an increase in taxes to maintain the private roads?
No, there's another way to do it.
But it's your way.
You mean it's my?
I mean, it's your thoughts, it's your idea.
Yeah, it's my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that this is a problem. We know that people are suffering out there. Councilman from Pinewood, your folks, some of your folks are suffering. You and I have talked about that. Councilman from Dazzell, you know your folks are suffering. We've talked about it. Councilman from Myrtle Beach Highway, you and I have talked about it. And you've been sensitive to it. Even Mr. McCain has said he has folks in his district. No. Now, with all of the leaders sitting up here, we should be able to figure out how to solve this problem. It's good to go to ribbon cuttings and new business openings, but we gotta do the work. We gotta do the hard work. And this has been going on for 35 years, and it's time to do some work.
Well, I will say that I want to see numbers on it. I did, and I want to know, because I don't understand all you're saying to me about this thing, but I want to understand the numbers, how many, I mean, the amount that it's going to cost, because I do believe you're going to end up raising taxes on this thing once we get going. I mean, you're going to have to get a whole nother. Either we will raise taxes.
There's too many conversations going on.
Yeah, I said either we will raise taxes, or the people on our county roads, instead of hitting them every 4 to 6 weeks, we'll probably be hitting them every 8 to 10 weeks.
I don't think that's the only option.
You come up with 100 miles of private road that we got to deal with, that'd be an option.
So what I hear you saying is, we do nothing and these people continue to suffer.
When I've been on council, as I was in my early days with Administrator Noonan, I would get a call and say, listen, I cannot get an ambulance back here. My family's having a funeral, we need to be able to do this and that. And I would call an administrator, and he would find a way to take care of it. Now that we've come to we can't do that anymore. We can't call and say, hey, I need you to go on that private road and scrape it because they can't get an ambulance back there. It seemed like we could at one time, but that is in. Because the Attorney General said we cannot put our equipment on a private road.
That's not what the opinion said.
Finish.
Maybe not, I don't know, go ahead.
You know, there was a time when we had additional funds at our public works. And when roads got bad, and someone came to us as an individual councilman, and they said, can you help us with our road? We need to scrape potholes. I could go to Eddie Newman then, and I could say, you know, can you help this family out of this road? And because they had the manpower and the additional equipment and everything, they went out and did it. So we didn't have all these problems that we have today, because a lot of those roads were being scraped when they needed to be scraped. But today we have that problem because we don't have the budget that we had back then. But I want us to look at something that's very important. A lot of times we like to react to situations. And sometimes when we react, it's too late, because somebody's house done burned down.
Yeah.
Somebody done died because we couldn't get an emergency ambulance back to them on time. So I want us to be proactive.
Yeah.
I want us to try to eliminate those things that can happen. Now, you see, when you don't live and experience that, you can't relate to it as much as the people who have to deal with it every day. But I'm sympathetic and I understand what you're going through, because I've had family members who lived in my district who went through the same thing. We need to look at how we can help people to give them that service that everyone else has. We take for granted. When you call the fire department, you take for granted that that fire truck will get there on time and help you and put out that fire. When you call for EMS, someone is sick, you take it for granted that that emergency vehicle will get down that road as fast as it can and help you out and save the life of someone. You know, a lot of people take that for granted. But there are people that cannot or don't have that benefit because the vehicles can't even get down the daggone road. And we need to accept that. And this council needs to accept that. That there's a problem out there that needs to be corrected. And rather than for us sitting here and fighting each other about this law, that law, I don't care about these laws. I care about the health, safety, and welfare of the people in this county. And that's what we need to do. Mr. Chairman, let's be proactive. Let our county administrator do what we asked him to do and come back so we can be proactive in dealing with this issue.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty then.
You know,
That's right.
I'll make a motion to send this to Public Works. And I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Washington. As chairman, I'll let you run the meeting. And I want to see the numbers on it. I mean, I want to see what you're talking about, because I really do not understand it, and I still am uncomfortable. I think we're going to get sued once we start putting our equipment on the private road. I feel sure on that. And try to hammer it out, see if there's a way. I do want to help people on private roads.
I've got a question. I don't know how to ask you about. get the numbers, the miles of these roads, the number of these roads. It's impossible.
Off the map.
It's not
Okay,
impossible.
let me give you an example. I live on a private road, I pay somebody to keep my road up. When I find out the county is gonna do it, you think I'm gonna keep paying somebody to do it? No, I'm gonna make the county come on. How you gonna count
Mr.
There's no way.
Mr. Chairman, let's try not to create something that's not there. We're talking about 100 miles of road. Nobody's talking about 100 miles of road, okay? No, what they're talking about, there are roads out there that we can identify that need to be corrected. Those are the ones that we focus on first. We're not gonna go out there and try to correct every private road.
That's right.
Okay, so let's get this thing about 100 miles of road that need to be done. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I make that a motion that we sent Public Works. I'll turn the meeting over to Councilman Washington, and I want to be able to understand what we're talking about. And the numbers, and like I said, the numbers, I need to see them.
Just for the record, there are only 139 miles of dirt roads, period.
Thank
in
you.
the county.
All
Are you
right.
talking about private?
In the county public works.
Public, not talking about public.
Well, they got that in here too.
It should be.
It's 300 something miles there, private roads.
Yeah, but the point here is,
We
the
try to get to the
majority
point
of those
that you-
roads are not in horrible condition.
That's right, that's the issue, that's the point.
We're trying to get to a point where we can come up with the numbers that you're asking for, Mr. Washington.
Mr. Baker asked that staff just give numbers, that's it.
Staff, I want to send Public Works.
Okay, no works discussion, that's it, and I'll go to the administrator. I'll second it.
So let's just play that out a little bit. So if it goes to public works, then the county administrator and his staff will still have to produce the numbers.
Once we come up with,
Yes.
after we discussed it, we said, hey,
So what's the difference?
well, because it ought to go through Public Works. Public Works is roads.
My concern is, let me share with you my concern. My concern is that I do not have a trust level that if it goes to committee and comes out, that we're gonna be providing relief for people. That's my concern.
Well, I can tell you, I don't know that you're gonna get relief right now. If you're asking me to vote on this thing right now, I'm a no vote.
I understand that
But
there
if you wanna
may
try to
be. Here's the
compromise
thing.
and work
Here's
together.
the thing. I understand that it might be a no vote today, but 2 years from now, it may not be a no vote. And that I can assure you.
There you go. That's right, that's right.
2 years from now, okay, are y'all willing to wait 2 years?
No.
When we get Mr. Washington the information that he needs, so that we can make a decision and compromise and do what's right.
But that's the problem, Mr. Chairman, when I hear you say make a decision, what I need to hear you say is we're gonna come up with a solution to address this. You tell me that, you got it.
Okay.
Tell me that and you got it.
Hello.
And you're not asking for too much because that's what you're asking for. We're trying to stop the county administrator from doing something. He's asking the county administrator to be positive, be proactive, and come up with something. Why are we opposed to that?
That's right.
And you're on the committee.
Yeah,
I don't think, and if I'm on the committee,
We have a
great.
secondary motion on the table and a second.
I
Any further
second.
discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of sending this to Public Works in order that we can get the numbers together.
What happened? What was
Any further discussion? All
So,
in
Mr. Chairman, I indicated at the beginning of my comments that I had an ordinance that I wanted to introduce.
We still have questions about what it's gonna cost and that type of thing, which you said you wanted. We're trying to get that, Mr. White.
But I also want the ordinance introduced as well.
So you want us to vote on the ordinance?
The ordinance will get first reading.
You want us to get first reading to your order?
Yes.
Right now?
Absolutely.
Right now, right.
Make a motion. We got something. You got it. Okay, all in favor of substitute motion, that we send this to the Public Works Committee in order to come up with the cost and miles that we asked for. All in favor, please say
Mr.
aye.
Chairman, I have an amendment to the substitute motion. The amendment to the substitute motion is if, no, son.
You can't make an amendment to amendment.
Yes,
No,
you
we gotta
can.
carry this motion. According to Robert.
Okay, go right ahead. Then, Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment after the motion.
You can make a vote.
Not an amendment, but a motion. Go ahead. All in favor, say aye. Okay.
So the second motion is, once the numbers are discovered, that we bring them back before full county council for discussion.
That's a request, I agree to that. That doesn't have to be a motion.
Well, I never know how you're gonna go, Mr. Chairman. And then secondly, I also want to introduce my ordinance. I talked about it last week, and I'm prepared to introduce it tonight, and I'm happy to read it. And it reads, it's an ordinance to ensure essential services are rendered by Sumter County. Every county in South Carolina has a duty to provide public works, including roads, drainages, bridges, and related access services. Sumter County Council recognizes that for its citizens to have reasonable access to government-provided services, a reasonable means of getting to and from their residence is essential. Sumter County Council is aware of the existence of private dirt surface roads within the county that serve as the sole means of ingress and egress by many of its citizens and taxpayers. Sumter County Council is also aware that emergency, medical, rescue, law enforcement, and other county vehicles cannot immediately and fully access many of these roads to render essential services and life-saving measures to which all residents are entitled. Private roads deemed inaccessible by the county for the performance of one or more essential public functions poses a serious threat to public health and safety. Under the proposed ordinance, existing requirements for roads to be accepted into the Sumter County road system would be suspended to permit the county to address the public health and safety obstacle. All property owners on roads deemed a public health and safety threat would be required to execute a contract transferring ownership to the county with the explicit understanding that only minimal maintenance measures would be implemented to enable the county to fulfill its duty to provide for the public safety, health, and welfare of all citizens. Triggers include, but are not limited to, law enforcement, fire departments, rescue, ambulance, utility providers, Department of Mental Health, home health services, food delivery, medical supplies, contractors, funeral services, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Health and Environmental Control, UPS, U.S. Postal Services, and DSS. Activation of this provision is based on determining that all the following conditions exist. The road is the sole means of access to one or more occupied primary residences. The distance from the closest residence to the nearest public road is more than 300 feet, and access to the residence is determined to be impassable to emergency response vehicles, equipment, and their personnel, preventing them from performing their designated functions. Now, let me also say, because I saw council over there shaking his head, if there's something in here that doesn't conform, then we can retrofit it to make it conform. But the basis of this ordinance is legal. No, it's the opinion of the Attorney General, which you read. And we can put it back up for you to read it again. We can put it back up for you to read it again.
Okay, we got a motion.
Well, I've already said that I'm not voting on anything.
Second motion.
We got a motion and second. All in favor of accepting the ordinance as read by Mr. Washington, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay.
See, isn't that arrogant?
Three.
Very.
That's why we need to discuss.
That's three times.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. I have some closing comments. If Mr. Bird is not over because I have a comment, and I'm a sitting member just like you. So it's not over,
That's right.
and I want to make comments. Well, I mean, when you're sitting there whispering to the chairman, there's no order there.
They all be doing.
Well, Mr. Bird, if the chairman needs help, then maybe he should be the chairman. If the chairman needs help, maybe he should be the chairman.
I'm letting you talk even though it's out of order. I'm letting you finish.
Mr. Chairman, it's my right to speak as a
You said
councilman.
I'm letting you speak.
We all represent districts. You just happen to be elected as the chairman. I got just as much right to
I
speak as you
said,
do. I think it's a sad day in Sumter County for us to sit here and know we have a catastrophe on our hands, a public health catastrophe, a public safety catastrophe, and we sit here and vote no to not even going down the rabbit hole. That is a shame. I am ashamed of this group and their actions today. Mr. Chairman, I am done.
That's a shame. It's a crying shame.
Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. You know, we need to get ourselves in order. Because we somehow know we have gotten away from representing these people. They are the ones that sent us here.
Yes, we did. We will
But
remove
we've
you.
gotten away from representing them. And I'll tell you right now, and I'm gonna say this, Mr. Chairman, you are not a dictator. You want to be a dictator, but you're not a dictator, okay? So if you're going to be fair and honest, be fair and honest.
That's right.
Because you play games. You play games. Now, let's be real. Now, people need help. And so if we walk out of here tonight and we don't have a plan where we're going to try to help these people, we have failed, not them, we have failed. No, you're out of order. Look, put me out of order.
That's it.
Put me out of order.
That's it.
Okay,
They don't wanna
I'm
hear
out
the
of
truth.
order.
Look, I understand the diabetes.
You don't understand because you want to kill. You want to kill. You want to kill people. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. You want to kill people.
That's what you got to do. You don't read.
Man, get out of here.
Stand with your puppets there.
Mr. Bryan.
Yeah.
And 2 more years. Got that long to get ready to vote.
For my time.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is resolution R-24-02. This is a resolution to ratify the prior decision in a decision that's required by the enabling legislation. The section of the Sales Project Tax Act, which is 4-10-320, requires a resolution. So we're going to do a resolution. Any questions?
Move for approval. It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve resolution 2402. All in favor, please say aye. ordinance number 24-1000.
Okay, next order of business is ordinance 24-1000. Sumter County owns a little piece of property that's on the corner of South Harvey Street and Divine Street. It's the back corner of a piece of property we bought, I could know it as a Budweiser warehouse. It's outside the fence, and SDDOT needs a piece of property for expansion of the right of way as part of the Manning Avenue Bridge project. Not a big piece of property. I don't have a picture of it yet. The title only.
Move approval, please. Second. We have first reading on ordinance 24-1000. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Ordinance passes. Committee reports. Report from council members on other meetings, trainings, and our conference.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a report. I am a life member of the Sumter branch NAACP. I'm also a life member of the NAACP.
That's right.
At our last meeting, we discussed our educational system, public education. And we was concerned about the quality of education that our students are receiving and the grades that they're getting, and how the schools are being identified as failing schools, unsatisfactory schools, below standard schools, and so forth. And we talked about the millage that constantly being denied by this body to help in the education of low-income children. Now, we got to recognize that in our public school, Sumter School District, there are 14,000 students. Wilson Hall have about 900 students total. And the new Liberty STEMs have about 500. So you're talking about, what, 1,300 students? The majority of the students are in public education. That's where our emphasis should be on, because public education in that school district has the responsibility to develop the workforce for economic development. We say that education is the backbone of economic development, but yet we don't invest in economic development.
That's right.
I mean, what is this going on? I mean, come on. And now I'm sitting up here and I have to debate. We're going to ask the citizens of this county to pass another penny tax.
Come on now.
We're going to come to you and say, we want you to vote for a penny tax. Now, I have a question with that. My moral standards don't just fit into me going into low-income people, people who have to put off getting pain medication so they can feed their children. I have to go and ask them to put a 7-year tax on themselves so that the upper and middle class can have more recreation playgrounds. Now, that's the problem that I'm having. And that's the problem that we're discussing in the NAACP chapter, is the fact that this body constantly every year denies the millage request from the school district, from their trustees. We deny that, which means that we could have a 9-member, non-partisan board that can come to us and say, we want this amount of mills, and then we'll have 4 people on this body to vote them down.
That's right.
There's no justice in that. But we can keep on doing it. We can keep on denying these kids in this school a quality education. And we're going to keep on filling our jails, because that's what it is, a pathway to the detention center or the jail. and then we're gonna cry about having to support and get guards and so forth to feed the inmates at the detention center. There's an old saying, pay me now or pay me later. But we don't have to go down that road, Mr. Chairman. And we've been going down that road a long time. And it's time for us to say, because I'm at a point, my problem, my thing gonna be no millage, no tax. No millage, no tax. I cannot support a penny tax when we cannot support the education of low-income kids in this county.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.